What up, dudes?
Are we recording?
We're recording.
Sweet. All right. It's classroom day. We're gonna give a little lesson here. Everybody's gonna learn something, and we'll all be better for it.
Back to
Today.
school.
Wow. Yep. Just like that. Did you just throw up a gang sign?
I don't know, did I? That was kind of an Atlanta sign.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure what you did. Anyway,
I
today
didn't think y'all could see it.
it's a podcast. Most of them can't. Um, Today we're going to talk about how a magazine works because there seems to be a lot of confusion on that topic with just a ton of people that we talk to on a day-to-day basis. Most people don't really seem to understand how we work up this wizardry and actually make money off of it. So let's go through it. I know, Wooly, you've got the notes in front of you, so kick me off a topic or something here. What do you
Okay,
want to start with?
hang on. Okay, so basically, we've been doing this for whatever, 12 years now. And the funny thing is, okay, in case you hadn't heard any other podcasts, real short story is that I went out hardcore and got the job with S3, which was an existing magazine. That
Mhm.
was in just before Christmas of 2005. By February of 2006, we're talking like 6 weeks later, I was laid off. Um, and when I got hired, I was like, I was like anybody else, man. I didn't know how a magazine worked. I knew how it worked. You subscribe, you get a lot of subscribers, you make radical content, and you take over the world. That's kind of the way I saw it. And I remember when Todd Lamb was the old owner, when he was kind of interviewing me, he was trying to test me and see what I understood about actual publishing and not just writing. And I didn't understand any of it really. And so fast forward, I ended up getting like a crash course in this stuff because 6 weeks later we got laid off. Me and the designer ended up buying the magazine that laid us off in this whole soap opera series of events that unfolded. And part of that deal was Todd, the old owner, let us stay in the office so he could teach us about some of this stuff. So the interesting thing about S3 is, aside from what we learned in that crash course, we never had any professional training. We never really had an older publisher or an older ad exec or anything like that to teach us the ropes.
You
My
still haven't. You
no,
still just
my
kind of have
no,
been feeling it
Mike.
out the whole time.
Yeah, again, you might have heard the story. We tell it a lot, but Mike called me. Within a couple weeks of us getting the magazine, because you had heard
Mhm.
about it. You
Yep.
asked if we needed an intern. I said we needed somebody to sell ads because I was in that process of learning. Like, holy crap, we got to sell
Yeah.
ads if we're ever gonna make the first issue under our ownership.
Mhm.
So yeah, you were 20 years old at the time. You ended up being the ad sales guy. None of us really knew what the hell we were doing. So all this information might be incorrect. but
Yeah. This is how we make a
yeah, this is how
magazine.
we make a magazine.
Probably
So
wrong.
anyway, that was the backstory. What we've realized over the past 12 years, dozen years, whatever it is now, is that, okay, so people really don't, it's not that they don't understand, they just don't think about it, right? They hadn't, I don't know, why would they? So a lot of times people think, obviously, subscribers, like they think you make your money off subscriptions.
Yeah.
And we,
I mean, technically, we do make money off of it, but we also lose money.
yeah,
By the time we send you guys like the fourth or fifth issue, it's a negative impact. We're losing money at that
yeah.
point.
I mean, guys, think about it. We've got to print a magazine. If you're subscribing for 12 issues, we got to print it 12 times. We got to send it to you 12 times. Even if you
Hmm.
spent $20 on that subscription, we're losing. And usually you
Yeah.
spent $20 and you got a shirt at some show or something like that, So obviously we're losing our ass on that deal.
Yeah.
But here's how it works. The gamble is that we make it back on advertising. And
Yes.
advertising is how magazines make money, right? So you've got your wheel company, your turbo company, your whatever, your aero body kit company, your car manufacturer like a Honda or a Chevy or whoever it is. Those guys put ads in the magazine. That's what funds it, like pretty much 100%. The subscriptions, while greatly appreciated, and it's cash flow, but like you
Yeah.
said, we're on the losing end of that deal. for any sort of long term. So yes, advertising is what makes the magazine run. It's not subscriptions. It's not even content, which is kind of weird to think about.
That's a big common misconception, especially now in the day of the internet where content is king. I mean, content quality matters, but it's not going to change your ad revenue very much unless you're going from absolute garbage to really great content.
And, yeah, and people think, if it's a good magazine, it's a successful magazine. It's not true. A lot of the really good magazines are struggling.
And it's because they refuse to sell out, because there's a little bit of a balance, a teeter-totter there, that you really that we throughout our career have had a hard time with, because Wooly kind of goes rogue and does his own thing, and I'm trying to make the advertisers happy. And of course, I read the magazine when it prints, and I have the same response as those guys. Holy shit! I can't believe he wrote that. Yeah, what a moron!
We're like the Senate and Congress or something. That's what makes it work for S3 is because we balance each other.
Yes.
If we were both about the money, then it
would just be a sold out magazine.
Our magazine would be shit. It would be the Justin Bieber of magazines. No offense to Justin Bieber, but you know what I mean. Like it would be like
offense to Justin Bieber.
It would be the big corporate agenda type of thing, which we've never been into. Having said that, I mean, maybe sell out isn't the right word, but if you're not paying attention, to who's helping you out, if you're not paying attention to your advertisers and trying to show them some damn love and get their products out there, you're not going to have a magazine very long.
And I understand that some readers, it doesn't bother most people, but some readers will read through magazines and go, oh, all these ads, they're in the way of the content. They have to be there, or else that magazine will not be in your hands ever again. It'll never print again without advertisers.
That's right. And the giant stress for us, for any magazine is you constantly, right? Like you've got to always get to that bottom line or whatever to where you can print the next issue. It's a weird industry because, in regular manufacturing or something, let's say you make, I don't know, wings for cars, right? So you go out, you measure, you make your wing, the wings come in, you finally have, and you sell. You just get on the line or get online every day and sell as much as you can. With a magazine, it's really different because you put everything into making this product, and then when it comes out, essentially
you gotta make a new one all over again.
Yeah, I mean, on y'all's end, you're getting it and reading it, but on our end, we're always working kind of a magazine ahead, so as soon as an issue comes out, it's like, all right, good, that one's done, let's redo it all over again. We got to reinvent the wheel every time, and every time we got to make sure that we sell enough advertising to get that thing printed. Now, a lot of advertisers, just so you guys know, will do year-long commitments, you know what I mean? So they're like, okay, put us in every issue for this year or this next year, or put us in half of the issues, or so we know what they're going to do, whether they're going to do a full page or a half page or whatever. And sometimes, just so you guys know, there are like things with that. Like, they'll be like, hey, we want to be in every issue, but can you feature one of our cars? Or we got this guy, he's freaking awesome. He's like this unknown drifter that's going to be huge. Like, could you guys do something on him? And, I mean, our answer at S3 is always like, yeah, if they're cool.
Yeah, of course.
Like it's one of those things. But yeah, so the screwy thing, though, that we're starting to notice just this last year, really, is that, like, okay, for all of time, as long as there's been magazines, like, there's been yearly budgets, and companies plot out their yearly budgets, and they allocate those budgets in different places, whether it's TV or print or digital or, whatever it is. But now, I think because of the social media climate, it's like these yearly budgets are kind of going away a little bit, it seems. Not with the bigger, more established companies that are more organized, but especially with kind of the younger companies out there. Like, it's no longer
mid-sized younger companies.
It's like literally a monthly budget. Like, they're just kind of like, every month they're like, let's take some of this from Facebook and let's put it in print. Or let's take some of this from print, let's put it in Facebook, or whatever it is.
What's crazy is what those guys are doing with their budgets is what publishing, magazine companies are now having to do with how we get paid, because now we are having to figure out ways to make money, obviously, off of the magazine, but that revenue is slowly going away as digital gets bigger. But now we're making money off of digital stuff too, podcasts, the website, all sorts of stuff. So at all times we're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul. We'll sell some website ads and realize, well, crap, that revenue has to go towards printing the magazine, and that meant that when that happens, that kind of circle of life there, that is exactly why you see a lot of magazine companies going out of business
or not going out of business,
or
but
killing
not
their
printing.
print side.
Yeah.
Yeah, killing their print side and then doing only digital because they go, why the hell am I taking this profitable thing over here and using it to pay for this?
Yeah, magazines are expensive, y'all. I mean,
it's like buying a damn car every time we go to print.
Yeah, and people
Shipping
always,
alone kills you. Shipping is thousands of dollars.
It's frustrating because people love the magazine and they're like, man, why don't you guys print more? That's why, because it takes time to sell the advertising to make sure that we're at least hitting that, goal that we need to hit to keep the train moving or whatever. Back, whatever, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, all magazines were pretty much monthly because that process was moving so much faster. Now it takes longer, to sell ads, and there's a bunch more obstacles. For example, we don't wake up and make a magazine every day. We wake up and we make a magazine, but we're also trying to put stuff online, and then we're also trying to put stuff on social, and
Instagram posts,
all these different things. Yeah. So I mean that's why our magazine is quarterly, because that's kind of how long it takes. By the time we get everything made, get the ads sold, get it all designed, get everything shot, that's kind of what it takes. But I remember back in the day, magazines used to work like a season ahead of schedule. You know what I mean? A lot of magazines, in fact, would actually be booked for the year. Like, you guys might not know this, but a lot of magazines have what they call editorial calendars. And some of the bigger magazines out there can tell you what they're going to do 10, 12 months out.
Not only that, a lot of the content from 6 months out has already been created.
Yeah. We could never do that. That drives me insane. Like
we can't create content 6 weeks ahead of
No, well, the thing is, who wants to? I mean, like some of these magazines know what's going to go on their cover in March of 2019 already.
Yeah.
We'll find the car that's going on our cover in February of 2019. I mean, that's just kind of how we've always been. We always just kind of fly by the seat of our pants. I mean, I don't know. If we were that scheduled, we would miss out on so much cool stuff. So that's never really been our style. But yeah. I mean, and so, all right. So the game is that magazines essentially make the bulk of their money off of advertisers. So a magazine's mission is obviously to attract as many advertisers as possible.
And wait, we're missing one thing. I'm gonna cut you off here really quick. I'm sorry.
Okay.
They used to make a lot of money off of newsstands too. Used to, but that when all the bookstores went under and people stopped buying on newsstands, they just became not profitable.
Well, and that changed the game a lot too, because like for example, when it's a different strategy. If you're trying to sell a magazine on a newsstand that is going to be next to other similar magazines, then it becomes a strategy of what car do we put on cover.
Yes.
Why when you saw cars that were just shocking, just off the charts, kind of shocking, whether they ran or not didn't matter to a Super Street or an import tuner. I mean, not that they didn't run, but you know what I mean? It was all about trying to blow your mind, and it kind of went too far. But yeah, so it's a different strategy now. Now, I mean, we don't do newsstands, so we're not worried about that. Like, you know what I mean? We're sending them straight to people's homes. So what is on the cover maybe doesn't matter so much. And we concentrate on the design and the photography and kind of the theme that we're going for with the cover.
Sadly, I think that newsstands has kind of gone the way of subscriptions, where you're just doing it as a marketing expense. You're not making money off of it anymore.
Newsstands was always a pain in the ass. Like, y'all, okay, so, you go to a newsstand and a magazine's $5. Well, pretty much everybody's got their hand in that, right? So the magazine that sold the issue for $5 gets $1 roughly, and they have like 180 days, if not more, to pay you that dollar. So any magazine that gets sold, you get $1. Any magazine that doesn't get sold gets burnt, gets trashed. They basically rip the covers off and send them back to whoever your newsstand circulation people are.
Yep.
And then they do the math or whatever, and then they have basically a half a year to send you the check for the copies that you did send. However, there's mysterious shipping costs that are incurred, and they're like, well, you sold this and this, but we spent this much shipping and doing a little promotion over here and doing this and this, so your check's
you never get paid.
$75. Yeah, it's like it's that kind of a thing. You pretty much cannot bank on getting paid from that. Now you will if you have a good sell-through rate, which is used to be like 35%. So that means
40.
for 40 would be pretty kick-ass.
40 would be awesome.
I think, they told us about 35 and we were stoked when we were hitting that. But so that means for every 100 magazines, you might sell 30 to 40. The rest are trashed. But you incurred all the costs of the 100 magazines in printing them and shipping them there. And like I said, the check that you get is always somehow thinner than you thought it was going to be. So that was the game, though. Back in the newsstand era, was to print as much as possible, dominate the newsstand, and people would buy it, people would subscribe. And even if people didn't subscribe, that was kind of okay, so long as you were dominating the newsstand. Every grocery store you went to back in the day had a Super Street or a Honda Tuning or whatever it was. Side note, because their parent company also owns the newsstand, or owned back in the day, so they got.
And looking back on it, maybe that was one of the reasons that newsstand didn't work out for us.
Yeah,
like competitor
we never had
S3.
A chance. Yeah,
fuck those guys.
Yeah, put them in the back. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, back when print was king, it was almost like Facebook now, right? There was one company out there owned the majority of all magazines. They also owned the circulation. They had the world by the balls, and if you were an independent magazine, it was hard on you.
It was a niche monopoly for sure.
We sat there and we fought through that, and now it's like, great, we're one of the last magazines standing, and now it's the internet. Can we get a freaking break? But anyway, where the hell was I? Oh, okay, so yeah, the goal for a print magazine in this case is to get circulation up as much as possible, because the more circulation you have, the more that you can charge for your ad rates, right? So small magazines don't get as much per ad as big giant ass magazines. So that's why, for those of you guys that subscribe, that's why for a while there we were doing lifetime subscription, and everybody was like, you're freaking off your rocker. Maybe. One, we didn't know how long we'd be around anyway, so the joke might have been on y'all. Two, we are still to this day losing our ass on those lifetime subscription guys.
Oh yeah.
But it made our circulation, our subscribers, our paid subscribers go through the roof. And that's another thing in the print world. Paid subscribers, paid circulation is different from circulation, right?
Yeah.
And it's more valuable. If you guys paid to subscribe to a magazine, you want it. You want to open it. You want to experience it. You're kind of a captive audience, right? You kind of it's like out with the world and in with the magazine, and that's great for an advertiser, especially in the digital.
For the advertiser,
dude, in the digital world where you're like, fuck this, all these ads are coming up. You're not looking at any of them because you're trained to automatically not give relevance to anything.
Find that red X as quickly as you can.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas a magazine's kind of a different thing, at least for those of us that are, still get it. You kind of you just kind of block the world out, and that's your thing. And there's no comments, and there's you're just left to your own freaking brain power. And that's why I dig it. That's kind of part of why we hold on to it. But yeah, so y'all thought we were nuts with the lifetime subscriptions. We probably were. But that's why, because we needed, especially as we were pulling out of the newsstand stuff, and as we saw that stuff was going nowhere fast, it was like, well, dang, how do we grow a magazine? How do we get out there without physically having to be at every show and shake every hand and ask every person to subscribe? How can we just use the internet, to build our subscriptions, and boom, lifetime subscriptions. So I don't know. That's kind of, to recap, how it works is it's this fine balance between you gotta get advertising, you gotta make those guys happy, and you feel a loyalty to do that because it's not just an advertiser, man. These guys are your friends. They're supporting you, and so you want to find a way to support them back. That's part of why, you see us, for example. I mean, even shoot, had to be like 8 or 10 years ago. We were kind of screaming that JDM was bullshit, because we see it differently. Is JDM cool? Yeah, it is. Like I really freaking like that kind of styling. I like that kind of car. But like from a magazine perspective, we saw like how dangerous it was because in the earlier 2000s, let's say, everything was great because everything that was trending was like American-based tuner companies. You know what I mean? And so it was making a really healthy industry and a really healthy aftermarket, really radical shows, like Nopi Nationals, where they would have freaking hundreds of vendors, like legitimate vendors, like, like the A-list vendors. And then, as in the mid 2000s or whatever, as JDM and drifting and all that, like JDM Hondas plus JDM drift scene pretty much killed everything as far as the American aftermarket was concerned. And we saw that happen, and we were screaming about that. And we were screaming about how JDM was going to kill this thing because, and a lot of the reason, maybe it was selfish, but it was for the greater good, was that we were like, man, these JDM companies, first of all, they're not advertising in American magazines. They're over there, A lot of this stuff is used. A lot of it is used OEM. Like, this is going to crash and burn is what we were looking at. Like, there's no, who makes profit when you buy a set of freaking Type R door cards for a Honda? You know what I mean? Like,
the guy that you bought it from.
Who makes profit when you buy some old works that were taken off of a junkyard car and sent to America for us to buy? Like, that money is not going back into our aftermarket, and so it was kind of vanishing. Hindsight, here we are 10 years later. It's a real freaking problem. You know what I mean? Like it's changed the whole landscape. So,
well, and I can't tell you over the years when we were doing a lot of JDM stuff and a lot of stance cars, I can't tell you how many of because I'm the ad sales guy. Obviously, I talk to all the advertisers, and these guys tell me no a lot. It happens. It's part of business,
Yeah, in hindsight, it pigeonholed us real bad.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many of them called me up and said, Mike, I can't do business with you guys anymore because this JDM crap does not work for our business model.
Yeah.
You're trying to pitch turbo kits, superchargers, exhaust to people who only care about buying used, trendy parts. They're not real customers.
Here's my argument as the editor. It is not sellout for me to listen to that. You know what I mean? Like, it would be flat out childish to not listen to that, to just plug your ears and go, la, 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 we're going to do it because it's dope, son. Like, that's childish,
quick
right?
way to go out of business.
Well, not only that, but you're just effing everything. Like, as a magazine, I feel that it's kind of our calling to put the aftermarket and the readers kind of in the same pages, right? So whenever we do something, like it's got to be good for everybody. First and foremost, it's got to be good for the readers. But it's also the magazine as a whole and the direction that we go has to be good for the aftermarket, the American aftermarket, the guys, our bros that are out there, all of us, our peers that are out there, trying to build a business and build brands and, God forbid, hire people like you guys or, that all depends on our aftermarket doing well. And when you're buying 20-year-old used wheels and, like I said, Type R door cards, like that takes an industry and it makes it a hobby. You may as well be building little plastic models in your basement. Like, it's just not, it's cool, but when you look at it from 30,000 feet, when you look at the big picture, it ain't working.
So that's the thing. You see it with bigger brands, like a lot of brands out there will try to branch out and try to get other segments of people to buy their stuff. Because like you can only go after your own segment. You're already getting so much before it's just kind of wasted marketing dollars. So, like for example, Holley is a good example because they're kind of an American muscle, manufacturer. And they're going to sit there and they're going to try to get into the Japanese and the Euro market, of course. But they're only going to do it for so long if you guys aren't buying stuff, like if you guys don't start buying their stuff, they're going to ignore you and they're going to go away and they're not going to come back. You
Yeah.
know, you'll
And
turn
to
them
be
sour.
clear, those are the type of companies that are really going to bring innovation to the
Yes.
import scene. You know, let's just use them for an example. You know, Holley's the type of company that could come in here and revolutionize some stuff for old 240s or Hondas or S chassis cars, which they
They've
have.
got a team full
Or
of real engineers that are going to make real awesome
yeah,
parts.
yeah. And you know, conversely, the guy that runs that little salvage yard in Japan that's shipping stuff over, not going to get that out of him. He's
He
gonna
doesn't give a shit.
he's gonna use this little whatever. He's gonna use y'all till it's used up, and then he's gonna go to the next thing. Like that's the way it is. So having said that, we still do JDM stuff because, like I said, you know, it is about what the readers want. You know, and that, you know, that is a huge part of our car culture. That's why S3 is kind of all over the place, because we try and find something for everybody. Not every car that we're gonna feature you're gonna like.
Yeah.
Not every car I'm gonna like. But I'm not doing it for me. You know, I'm trying to say, okay, you know, this thing might kind of be a haggard piece of shit, but dude, there's something cool about it, and it's going to send people to Craigslist, and that's going to be cool. Like, you know, or this car over here is here to remind us that no matter how much shit people try and talk on Hondas or think that they grow out of them, you don't grow out of a Honda. That's a killer car at any price, you know, like period. I write about that a lot. You can quote, grow up and go get yourself a BMW or a Porsche. They're all radical cars, but they're not that frickin' swapped Honda. And eventually, if you're true to yourself, you're probably going to want to go back to it at some point.
Yep.
So yeah, we try and do, you know, some of all of that stuff. And at the same time, you know, we try and do stuff that is going to promote our advertisers, and try and help them reach you, because that's all they're trying to do.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, like I said to begin with, it's a balancing act. I mean, you really do have to find a way to keep everyone happy. And sometimes it's impossible to do. Sometimes you'll have advertisers that just say, Mike, we're not feeling the love. We're out, you know, and that sucks, man. I hate hearing that, but 9 times
y'all
out of 10.
remember our junk in the trunk little joke pages? That ran off a couple of them.
We got to bring that back, man.
Yeah, SSR had no humor, man.
Oh, yeah, they were really not fans of that.
And VP Racing,
at
he
all.
was right. He was right, looking back. Some of those jokes got a little rough. I wouldn't read them to my mama.
Yeah, no, you were watching a bit too much Family Guy and Internet porn at that time in your life, so we'll let it slide.
Well, my theory was if you come out of the gate just really offensive, you won't get in trouble later for being offensive. It's the Family Guy thing, you know. He gets away with anything. That if a politician said it, he'd lose his career. But, you know,
Nah, he gets away with it because he does it through characters. The same reason Koenig can say what he wants when he's got that little dog on his hand,
right.
You know, because he's saying it through the character. He's not saying it. He is actually saying it. He's just saying it through a character.
Right. Okay, so we need a mascot.
Yeah. Just an offensive S3 mascot.
All right. Okay, so anyway, to keep it on track, is there anything else we need to tell these people? It kind of...
I don't think so.
Kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But
so and anybody who wants to go make a magazine company, first, don't, because that's competition and I don't like it. Second, you got to go to SEMA. That's pretty much where we go and make what? Would you say 95% of our revenue for the year?
Yeah.
Go in there and it's just a week full of shaking hands and kissing babies.
Yeah.
You know, making deals and, you know, telling people what you're going to do. Dreams of grandeur for everyone, and everybody gets back and sleeps after Thanksgiving and forgets about everything they talked about at SEMA, pretty much.
I'm trying to think of what else I wanted to say, man. Oh, that's why you guys might also notice we've been tinkering with little sidebars within features. Couple reasons for that. One, because it's a pretty cool way to incorporate advertisers without having just a traditional ad necessarily.
Yeah.
Kind of makes it more involved. Also, in the digital world where all of our articles now have to go online at some point, or should anyway, like those sidebars can travel with that feature forever, you know, in 5 years or whatever, when somebody's looking up a 240 or whatever it is, like that article pop up, and that little sidebar from an advertiser that had a part on that car will pop up. Because, I mean, we can take a magazine and put the articles online, but then the advertisers kind of get screwed in that situation because the ads don't transfer over. It's just the articles. But I don't know. I pride ourselves on the fact that, we never have sold out, man. We've always, every move that we have made, it's always been genuine first.
Yes.
It really has. I mean, we've passed on things that, people were trying to throw us cash to do some stuff that we were just like, nah, man, we're not going to do that, because, I mean, once you lose your voice, once you lose that trust with a reader, dude, that's it. And I don't want to name names, but the old publisher of S3, man, it was sold the hell out. It was, I remember that one issue I got to do, we were working on a cover, and he goes, we're not doing that anymore, we're doing this, because they bought an ad. It's like, seriously? I mean, articles were purely generated out of ads. There was no, everything was for sale. I have a buddy that was a designer at one of the, I guess, Source magazines. It's now 10 or whatever, whether it was Import Tuner or Super Street, and he got the job of his life, right? Art director at one of these magazines, and he ended up quitting because it was like, man, he was like, dude, first of all, I don't get to shoot the cars, obviously. He's like, they've already been shot. He's like, second of all, I don't even get the shoot. Somebody has already gone through the shoot and decided what photos I'm going to get to use based on product placement or stickers or whatever. He's like, so I get like 7 photos. Here's your 7 photos. Use all of them. He's like, where's the art in that? It's just like this, and so it kind of broke his heart in a way to climb the ladder and end up at the top and then realize the top's kind of a boring place to be sometimes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like those companies, they may be very, wildly popular, but they are machines. And they are there to do one thing and one thing only, and that is generate revenue, no matter how the hell they have to do it. We're more of like the starving artists. It sucks. I absolutely wish that we made more money, but at the same time, I'm glad I didn't sell my soul to do it.
Yeah. When you look back as an old man, you might be proud of what you did. But it's just, it's different. It just is. I've heard stories from those same friends that like these big media companies, like the guys that run these things don't know what the hell a car is. I mean, this is no joke. Like one of the managers that oversaw the enthusiast car brand division had to go watch Fast and Furious to get up to speed.
When he first got the job, I remember that.
That's what he did because it was literally like, what kind of car is this? Fuck, I don't know. He didn't know what a 240 was. And to be fair, he had come from another industry. But that's the thing, it is a business. It is a profit making business.
And I can't blame them for that because at the end of the day, people gotta, you gotta have homes, you gotta buy food, you gotta feed your kids and your wife, your family, So I don't blame them at all, but we're just in it for a different reason.
Right.
We're in it as true enthusiasts, not money first. Like this isn't a job first to me. This goes back to what we were saying. It's more of a hobby for me than it is a job.
Dude, it's my whole identity. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's so much more than a job. It's my entire network in life. I don't know. So, yeah, I guess the point is subscribe, please.
Please.
You're not keeping us in business. Well, you are in a roundabout way.
You're helping for about 3 or 4 issues.
Yeah, no, I mean, the more y'all that subscribe, the more advertisers will pay attention.
The biggest thing you can do is if you see an advertiser in our book and you like what they make, you like what they do with us in the magazine, tell them. Let them know.
Yeah. Buy their shit, man.
Buy their shit. That's the biggest way to tell them. The best way to cast your vote on a company is to buy their shit.
It's so freaking tempting these days because there's so many digital outlets to buy other shit. Like back when I was a teenager and we were getting into it, you had to buy new. You just bought new shit. That's what you did. You read the magazines. You were like, damn, man, Gretty has got the back cover. Gretty has got like 5 pages here and here. Like, you know, and there'd be an article on like how much power they made on a DSM with the Gretty exhaust and intake. You know, you were like, I want that. You know, and that's the way it was. But now you're like, I want that. That's how much? Oh, let me go on this Facebook page. Oh, somebody's got one used and it's like $100. You know, like, I mean, I get it, dude.
Or some knockoff brand.
I get it. Like, it's very, very hard to pass up a good deal on used parts. And hell, you know, do it if you want to. But like, realize that, you know, nobody's making money off of the used parts that are just circulating, recirculating. Damn, man. There's probably an exhaust right now for sale on some Facebook page that's been on 7 cars in the past 15 years. Yeah. And somebody's going to buy it today and put it on an 8th. You know, it's just like, I mean, I get it. Look, hey, you know, we've all got different budgets. It's really hard to spend more when you don't have to, but your money's not wasted. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, you're not just wasting money buying new. You are creating the ability for these companies to innovate new products and keep themselves employed and hire people. Maybe you one day, you know? Like,
well, in a small nichey little community like this is, you know, I say community, but it's a big business circle at the end of the day.
But it's different.
Everybody plays an important part. You know, like you may think that, oh, my purchase doesn't matter. Those guys are going to be just fine. That's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true at all. Your purchase may very well keep that company in business for the next year. You don't know.
Yeah. Well, because there's a million other little dudes just like you, man, teetering on that same decision.
Yep.
So anyway, and yeah, this is an industry and this is a business, but it's a very unique one in that I would say the vast, vast, vast majority of people that work in it bleed this culture. You know, like, I mean, very rarely do we bump into people that were like, holy cow, that guy doesn't give a shit about cars at all. Like, these people are in this industry because they're married to it, you know, because at some point they were like, this is what I want to do. And, you know, we've taken pay cuts and we struggle and we do whatever to just because we love, dude, like, you know, that shit you see online about Mondays, I don't have that. Like, as a matter of fact, it sounds really corny. I get a little depressed on Friday a lot of the time because I'm like, shoot, you know, I didn't get everything done I wanted to get done. And then I get kind of amped up for Monday because you get rolling again.
Because you enjoy your job. You enjoy the working hours.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess that's about it, right? Did we make a point? Did we make it? Do we need a recap?
Is there a point to make?
I mean, you know, the whole thing is a lot of you dudes out there haven't spent the time to think about how magazines survive. Why would you? It doesn't matter. But just so you know, it's not survival of the dopest. You know, it's kind of just, you know, that's not how it works. There's, we can have the best content in the world. It doesn't mean you're going to have the most advertisers. You know, you can have a lot of subscribers and not necessarily have a lot of advertisers. So, I don't know. There's a lot of things at play. Magazines run off of advertising first and foremost. And when you subscribe, it allows us to have more power, I guess you would say, or more pull or more attraction to advertisers. So I guess that's it. But yes, it is not necessarily subscribers. Although we do love it when you go and get your bros to subscribe or something because your car was in the magazine. Please do that. And I guess that's it. Hope you guys learned something.
Class dismissed.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.